This is me, Alex Crumlish, Paddy Crumlish's son Alex from Northern Ireland, yeah? Any skill in exactly to make it clear for the whole world where I am at the present minute, yeah? I've been accused of robbing money from my father.
This video may contain images and/or language that some viewers may find graphic. Viewers' discretion is advised.
I'm married 7 years to them people. Now, we had our arguments, we had our ups and downs. Not with my brother-in-laws, I'm not going to tell a lie. But more or less with my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law. Now, they accused me of robbing money from the house, as they said 3 weeks ago to 4 weeks ago. I was in McGabry prison. The whole world knows where I was in prison. I'll put up my release paper from prison. I lands up to Tullamore, me and my wife and my 3 children and my jeep, to talk about what happened, who stole the money. All allegations pointed to me because I was staying in the yard at the time. Now, I landed to the yard. A bit of an argument took off. Not much of an argument, I'm not going to tell lies. My sister-in-law Celine turned around and says, we're not letting this go, we have to get to the end of it. So she turned around and says, we all have to do lie detector tests. So I turned around and said, that's fair enough, I've no hassle with that, I do a lie detector test. So then I went left, after the argument, me, my wife and 3 children left the house. I came back to my house in Belfast. I booked my lie detector test. My in-laws came down, took my 3 children to Tullamore, left me and my wife, how my wife would come in to me with the test. We met the man in the office, we sat down for an hour, we did 5 practice tests. What 5 practice tests means to the whole world now, I'm going to tell you exactly what this means. 5 practice tests means they're going to ask you questions that you're lying to get your metros, to make you know how you know you're lying. And then they're going to ask you the questions, did I ever steal money from Tom McInerney's house? Now apparently I was meant to be classed stealing money too last year from my sister-in-law. Did I ever steal money from Celine McInerney? Did I have a key to the press where the money was? This is all on my report, boys, yeah, the whole world is going to see this, right? I went in, I passed my test. My own wife turned around and said to the examiner, he says, is there any way, he says, he can fiddle this test? He said, there's not. There's 2 people in this world, he says, no, he says, who did it? It's Alex, he says, if Alex did it, he says, I know, he says, after 2 hours. So, my wife and I sit down, went through the questions, which was picked out by other people for me to answer, right? So I went down, they hooked me up to a load of wires, put blood pressure yokes on me, took me bloods to see was I taking drugs before the test. You're not allowed, boys, to drink, take fags, or take any drugs at all 24 hours pre to any lie detector test, yeah? After my lie detector test, we had to sit for 2 hours to get the report. I had to sign a confidential form for who do I release that report to. I signed a confidential form for me, my wife, and my sister-in-law Celine, because she was the one was keep ringing the place. The man rings me, he says, Alex, he says, there's people, he says, hestering the place. He says, ringing about the reports of this test. He says, what, can I have your permission, he says, to give it out? I says, say, Ross, so you give any permission you want, say, to the whole world, say, who rings about this test. So he says, I've good news, he says, you come on the phone to my wife was crying at the time. He says, your husband has passed the test, he's telling the truth. He says, he had nothing to do with it. Then he comes back and he asks me, did I send any of my brothers or anyone to the house to rob that house, to rob the money? Now, boys, I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. I don't know if there was money ever taken. I have a bad mother-in-law and I have a bad sister-in-law. Doesn't like me, doesn't want my wife living down in the north. I don't give a fuck about them. I don't give a fuck about Tom McInerney's family in Tullamore. Now, I'm only talking about Tom McInerney's family, yeah? Stephen, John, Mike, the whole lot of them. I don't give a fuck about them, okay? Simple as, I passed my test, that was no good. They turn around and says, he bribed the man. I bribed the man to give a fake result in my test. Fair enough. Now, I am in probation to Tullamore. I get to recall that my whole lot, there's 2 arrest warrants now for me in the Free State. My own wife knows this, she's telling the truth. My own solicitor was on the phone when I rung him, right? Me and my wife's going to Dublin. I agreed to do a lie detector test to say that I wasn't bribing the man that I went to in Belfast. So on the way up to Dublin, me and my wife had an argument. I said, so why am I the only one getting accused? Which the lie detector test man says, why is it, Alex, he says, the only fella he says getting accused? He says, when there's so many people, he says, in that house, in that yard at one time. So now, boys, I'm going to tell you one thing straight to you, okay? I'm not the richest person in the world, but my breed, Crumlish, that's who we are, okay? And I know who we are. My breed has money, and there was never an allegation like this made against me in my life. When I was a single young fella, I watched money for my father, I watched money for other people. people that I can ring and vouch for, get on a videotape and make clearance of this. I'm not talking about little scumbags of the street. I'm talking about big decent people, understand? Now here we go again. I went to Dublin, me and my wife had an argument. My wife gets on the train, she said she wasn't able at the time, she said she was going to go down to her family and have a discussion about what happened. I said then to myself, for the sake of my marriage and the sake of my children's life, I'll go over and I'll do a lie detector test. Now boys, I'm putting up the reports. You can't fiddle a lie detector test. If you can, I'll tell you what to do. If you think you can fiddle a lie detector test or make your way lying, I'll pay for any lie detector test that any man in England. Go in and tell a lie or a crime that you did do, and go in and see can you tell a lie to pass it. And another thing, boys, I don't give a fuck who rings the phones after this. We're not rough people. I've proved myself. I've done one lie detector test, I've done two. The third, fourth, fifth, they can go and fucking stick their nose up my arse, because I'm doing no more lie detector tests. And Bridget, you're my wife, you'll probably see this on Facebook. You said to me that your family is that bad-minded that they'd do this to get us separated. So that's the end of it now. End that tape and let them go themselves.